Hello, everyone. Welcome to Alberta News and Views and the Alberta Report podcast on YouTube. Shocked, I tell you. Absolutely shocked. The NDP and Green Party both voted in favor of Captain Carbon, Mark Carney's 2025 long-awaited Liberal budget. And the Parliamentary budget officer warned, saying that they are hiding the true debt to GDP ratio in this budget. Mark Carney says, he tells Canadians that it is generational investment when in reality it is generational debt. Anytime this government says it's an investment, just flick that word off the page and replace it with debt, because that is the reality of it all. From the Green Party of Canada, a major win for the planet and for the Greens. Elizabeth May just secured a historic on-the-record promise from Mark Carney. Canada will meet our Paris climate targets and our Kunming Montreal biodiversity goals. We are not here for talk. We are here for results. There will not be any results. There have never, ever been results with this government, and really globally with the green grift. Trillions of dollars spent, hundreds of billions of dollars lost. It is a disgusting agenda to follow without proper debate and without proper consultation. It is ridiculous that activists, extremists, and other global interests, especially investment firms, have infiltrated government, and they are pushing this all on the dime of taxpayers. It is always our money first, theirs last. Listen to this.
Merci. Ma question.
Thank you. My question is for the Prime Minister.
Agree that it is a deficiency in the budget that our legally binding Paris commitments are not mentioned. Can he confirm here on the floor of this House that in passing this budget, the government is committed to holding to as far below 2 degrees as possible, to funding climate adaptation, to delivering on the nature strategy, and continuing to engage in meaningful Indigenous reconciliation?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the honourable member for advocacy of the Youth Climate Corps, which is in this budget and which this House can vote for. Vote for the future of this country. Mr. Speaker, this budget puts us on the path for real results for climate, for nature, for reconciliation. I can confirm to this House that we will respect our Paris commitments for climate change, and we're determined to achieve them. I can confirm with this House that, consistent with our Kunming Montreal commitments, the nature strategy will be released in the coming weeks. We will build this country strong, sustainable, and pure for future generations.
It's absolute insanity. In this budget, there's literally subsidies for oil and gas. It is all hypocrisy. When a lying liar lies, can you trust him? Well, no, you can't trust him. Look at their track record the last 10 years. Look at Mark Carney's track record of anything he's done in the last 10 years. It's failure. You know, before I move on, I'm going to point something out to you. All you have to do is look at this pin right here. It is all about the Sustainable Development Goals, just like Justin Trudeau said himself and Mark Carney said himself recently. We must go ahead with the Sustainable Development Goals. This is their true agenda. At all costs, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It must be done. And everything that comes with it. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is an absolute disaster. While other countries have long abandoned this green grift bullshit dream, this scam, well, other countries dropped it long ago and are now getting back on their feet. Canada insists on going down this broken path. Listen to this.
Where the votes are, you were talking earlier about, never mind, not going back into all that.
Right, look, and I appreciate the unusual situation we're all in, but are you voting more as a final point, Elizabeth May, to avoid an election or because you like the overall direction of the budget? Because you're voting for a budget with a fossil fuel subsidy in it.
I don't like the budget primarily. I'm voting primarily because if I don't hear from my government that we're committed to reducing greenhouse gases and fast to meet our Paris Agreement targets, it means I'm leaving. I don't want to leave this. I'm not going to shuffle off this mortal coil and leave my 1-year-old granddaughter to find out how much I failed her after I'm dead and gone. I'm going to fight, fight, fight.
The Canadian government, these people talk like Canada is the biggest emitter of emissions on the planet, like we are just a disgusting country. If Canada never existed, nothing would change. Nothing. That is why this is so ridiculous. Elizabeth May is dropping so much debt on her granddaughter to pay off. If she truly cared about lowering emissions, she would focus on herself. Maybe pass some real laws that implement real change, like grounding politicians from flying. That would make a huge dent in emissions if she truly cared about that. It is ridiculous to even believe any of that. There has never, ever been one single open debate about carbon dioxide, greenhouse emissions, all of this shit. It is always the flavor of the day that pushes it. It's brutal. To get to the Paris Climate Agreement, that crap, people have no idea how much debt this government is throwing at Canadians.
Buy beer, you buy a new car. $62.7 billion is going to be collected in GST. But the interest in 2029-2030 at the end of this budget program, our projection is going to be $76.1 billion. GST would have to increase by 20% just to pay the interest.
GST will have to increase 20% just to pay the interest. And it will, because it must be paid.
Not to pay for any health care, not to pay for border security, not to pay for RCMP or for defense, just to cover the interest on the Liberal debt. In 2029-2030, 13%, almost one out of every $7 collected by this government that taxpayers are paying, not just GST, but income tax, corporate tax, one out of every $7 collected is going to go just for interest.
People have no idea. All roads lead to Western independence. They will have to raise taxes. They will have to raise taxes to pay for this. The reason is they have to raise the taxes is because the bulk of the projects that Mark Carney calls nation building and is going to build and export, they don't generate a lot of income. When you take into account the red tape, the bureaucracy, the cost to build, manufacture, everything. That is why oil and gas is so powerful, because it gives us money back. It has a great return. Everything this government does leads to disaster, leads to us paying more, leads to more inflation. It is absolute insanity. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.